All right, welcome to The Explainer. Have you ever had that feeling? You're up there presenting, and you look out, and you might as well be talking to a room full of zombies. Yeah, we've all been there. Well, today, we're going to crack open Warwick John Fahey's The 1 Minute Presenter to figure out how you can actually captivate an audience, especially in a world where, let's face it, nobody seems to have an attention span anymore. Fahey kicks things off with this amazing image. And it just perfectly nails a feeling we all know, right? You spend hours, maybe even days on a presentation and then nothing. It just lands with this big, wet thud. That's your 800-pound watermelon. It's huge, it's right there in the middle of the room, but nobody knows what to do with it. They can't just, pick it up and digest it. So what's the deal? Why isn't anyone listening? Well, the book has a pretty stark answer. Our attention spans, they're just shattered. Think of that watermelon, but this time it's being dropped from a skyscraper. That's what the modern world has done to our ability to focus. And let's be real here, it's not just them, it's us too. We are completely overwhelmed. I mean, you're drowning in notifications, emails, Slack messages, always feeling like you have to be doing 5 things at once. All that digital noise makes it almost impossible to give any one thing, especially someone's presentation, our full, undivided attention. And this is where it gets really tricky. The book points to this idea from Mark Prensky, and it highlights a massive challenge. You're standing in front of a room with 2 totally different kinds of brains. You've got your digital natives. They grew up with this stuff. They want info fast and visual bursts. Then you've got digital immigrants who prefer a more traditional, step-by-step approach. And somehow, you have to present to both of them at the same time. How do you even do that? There's actually a name for this. Psychiatrist Dr. Edward Hallowell calls it culturally induced attention deficit disorder. Basically, our crazy busy, tech-saturated lives have literally rewired our brains. We all act a little bit like we have ADD now, right? We're constantly distracted, jumping from one thing to the next. And that is the mind you're trying to reach with your presentation. Okay, so it sounds pretty hopeless, right? But here's the good news. It's not. The book gives us a super clear 8-step journey to cut through all that noise. It's a roadmap to actually get your message heard. And this isn't just, a random list of presentation hacks. No, this is a real strategic process. It's designed to guide you from the very beginning, that first spark of an idea, all the way through to a successful finish. Now, all 8 steps are crucial, but the whole thing really stands or falls on the first 2. Seriously. Before you even think about your message or how you're going to connect with people, you have to get 2 things right. Your own mindset, and then you have to really understand who you're talking to. So for the rest of our time here, that's exactly what we're going to focus on. So, step 1, the battle within. The book tells this story about a guy named Roger, an IT manager, who was just paralyzed with anxiety before every single presentation. And I bet a lot of us can relate to that, right? The pounding heart, the sweaty palms, yeah. So the very first thing we have to do on this journey is tackle that fear of public speaking head on. And here's a great tool the book offers. It's called a fear buster, and it's something elite athletes do all the time. Visualization. It's so simple, but so powerful. Instead of letting your brain run wild with all the things that could go wrong, you intentionally practice what success feels like. But here's the trick. It's not just about thinking this will go well. You have to actually feel it. The book says to tap into a memory of a time you were totally successful. Maybe it was acing an exam, or scoring the winning goal, or landing a huge contract. Remember that feeling? The rush? The pride? Your job is to bring that feeling into your body right here, right now. It breaks down into this really simple 3-step exercise that can completely shift you from fear to confidence. First, remember that past win. Second, really let that feeling of achievement, that energy just build up and fill your body. And third, lock it in with a powerful little slogan for yourself. Something like, this is going to be a total success. Say it till you believe it. All right, so once you've gotten your own head straight, it's time for the next critical step. You've got to shift your focus from inside to outside. It's time to really, really get to know your audience. And if you want to connect, if you actually want them to listen, you have to see past the job titles and the suits. You need to get at what really makes them tick. What are their motivations? What keeps them up at night? What are their biggest dreams? The book uses a great analogy for this. Think of your audience like an iceberg. The stuff you can see on the surface, their age, their job title, that's the demographics. That's just the tip. The real meat of it, the 90% that's underwater, that's the psychographics. That's what they really care about. Their values, their pains, their pleasures. That is where you have to aim your message. Okay, so how in the world do you figure out what's below the surface? Well, here's this amazing technique from the book called The Golden Avatar. The idea is, instead of trying to talk to a vague, faceless audience, you create a detailed profile of one perfect audience member. You make them real. Suddenly, you're not talking to a crowd, you're talking to a person.
And you start by asking, what are their pains? What are the biggest headaches they deal with at work? What are the problems that genuinely stress them out? When you start answering these questions, this avatar of yours starts to feel like a real person with real struggles.
Then you dig a little deeper. What gets them excited? What do they love to do? What do they actually value in life? All of a sudden, this isn't about presenting data anymore. It's about having a conversation with a person who has a personality.
And the final piece is, what do they want from you right here in this presentation? What do they need to hear? Once you know that, you can shape your entire message to speak directly to them. And when you do that, your message becomes personal, it becomes relevant, and it becomes pretty much impossible to ignore.
So if you take one thing away from this, let it be this. For your very next presentation, before you even think about opening PowerPoint or Keynote, just stop and ask yourself, who is my golden avatar? Take the time to build that profile. I promise you, when you know exactly who you're talking to, it changes absolutely everything.